Martin, how do you see the governing dynamics of innovation?
Oh, an easy one, huh?
I try to keep it simple, you know.
There are certain, let's say, things that people are moved by. So we like it when things are different. We like it when things are better.
Mm-hmm.
We like it when we get more. Sometimes we like it when we get less.
Depending on what it is.
But there's another dynamic which is far more powerful. It's the one that drives curiosity, and that is new.
Mm-hmm.
What's new?
Mm-hmm.
What is something that I've never seen before? What is something that I can't think of? What is something that doesn't draw on my past learning or my ideas, but it surprises me?
Mm-hmm.
The element of surprise. What's next? You know,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen? The mystery. It's a powerful driving force, even more than the desire to survive. You know, Maslow had his hierarchy of human needs, right? And
Mm-hmm.
at the very base, he said survival. Yeah. Except how many people have given their lives, thrown away their lives, devoted their lives because they wanted something new. They wanted to explore new territory. They wanted to learn something new, see something new, invent something new. You know.
And how do you apply this in a company setting?
Very carefully.
Yeah, obviously, right?
Yeah. My background is psychology, learning, theory. People learn by making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that if everything you've learned in your life came about through some sort of a painful experience. Maybe not real painful, but sometimes just a hard night of studying, or you know, something unpleasant happened and you learned something.
Mm-hmm.
All those unpleasant experiences gather up in you. They gather up in your thought processes. They gather up in your physicality, in your emotional system.
Mm-hmm.
And then you try to think of something new.
Yeah, that's a bit of a challenge, isn't it?
We immediately recoil. Okay, have you ever met anybody who wanted to be right? Just needed to be right?
Oh, it's rare. Hardly
It's
ever
hardly
happens.
ever.
Yeah.
The feeling is that if I'm wrong, something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's me, and it's not a pleasant feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So we strive really hard to be right because we don't want that. We don't want to stir up all that unpleasantness that's literally lodged in our minds, in our bodies, in our muscles, in our neurons, in our microtubules. Why stir all that up? So when I work with a CEO or a leader or an innovation manager, first thing you got to do is trigger all that pain. I've got to challenge everything they think they know and how they feel about all the things they think they know, and get all that stuff to come up like one. Well, you ever see a cat trying to choke up a fur ball?
Oh yeah. That looks painful.
Yeah. So I got to get that to come up, and they got to let go of what they think they know, even what they do know, their ideas, their discipline, all the years of education, all the painful experiences, childhood experiences. So in essence, you can't surprise people without confronting the pain that makes them resist everything new. People are afraid of what's new. You know, oh, we're gonna have some changes at our company. What does that mean? You know, everybody's afraid of that.
And how do you confront them like that?
Even more carefully.
I'm glad to hear it.
First, you have to go along, and then you finally can get along. So the first thing is, of course, there's our patterns of communication, which are, you and I have been refining now for 20 years as we work with people. And you have to appreciate what people are holding. And you have to appreciate the pain and the strain and the effort that went into them being who they are, who they think they are, having the position, having all that responsibility. So you got to acknowledge that, you know, admire that. You know, you can never agree with it. If you agree with it, they're lost. They'll spin off into, oh, you mean. So if I say, well, here's a communication process in deeper listening. Oh, okay, I'm listening deeper now, but they're not really listening deeper at all.
Yeah.
So you say, we're going to do a process of deep listening, and everybody tightens up their body and just
Watch
waits
me.
for
Am
the
I listening
brace
deep
for the
enough?
impact. So the first thing is you got. First thing is you have to also release your own sense that you know anything or have anything or can teach somebody something, that you're right, or that you're wrong. And then as you are comfortable with that, then they get more comfortable being experimental, trying things on. You know. Yeah. I love your outfit, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Did you shop for that? Did you?
I probably did, yes.
So you went to a store, you tried things. It's really nice, great choices, you know. So you're trying things on, and you want to create an atmosphere in which people can try on surprising things. They say, well, this is not my style. I wouldn't normally dress like this. Well, let's try it out and just see. And so once they feel that you're not going to make them wrong or attack them or try to change their mind, who wants to change their mind? Nobody. And then you say, well, let's try this on. And then you have to bring, this is the hard part, you have to bring a little fun to it. People in business, some people in business, some German people in business.
I knew that was coming.
I'm sorry.
I just felt it in the air.
This is fun. How can this be useful? I'm joking. I'm not joking.
I understand.
How can I take this seriously with all this laughter? So you have to, let's say you have to build a connection, you have to build a friendship, you have to accept everything about the person. Then there's a pattern of a certain number, as you see with the scales, a series of emotional states or psychological states or states of consciousness that they're going to have to move through before they come to a point of, I don't know, and I'm curious, and being comfortable with that. You know, they're paid to know. They go in front of a board of directors, and they're supposed to know. They're supposed to have the answers, and they want to know what's the next step, and what can you do to help me make that next step. Now you're throwing them into the unknown, and they need to be comfortable with that.
So do people ever actually get comfortable in the unknown?
Yes. Yes. But let's say it takes a while. Normally, right now your teams are at South by Southwest, and they're making friends with people from all over the world. As they get to know people, they'll go to their cities, they'll go meet them, they'll build a friendship. And when you're comfortable with the guide, you're comfortable with the new territory. So they're literally learning to build trust. Think of it like this. Farmers grow food, and people can eat. People in textiles, they make clothes, and so we can go shopping. Okay. Bankers have to have trust, have to earn your trust, and that's the hard one. Companies try to innovate by making something based on how much money it's going to make, or what's it going to do with our bottom line. If we introduce this innovation, will it produce what Schumpeter called creative destruction? What's it going to do to our existing cash flow? What's it going to do to my position in the company? What's it going to do to the positions of the other people in the company? So there's a lot of making it safe for people to consider alternatives. So one thing is we like to start with what's called a skunk works. Let's do a small project. But I hired you to solve my problems. And I will. And I will. But before we do that, maybe we have some tea. Maybe we...
Sounds great.
Maybe we get down and we have a little conversation about it, So, and now you take them, let's say, in an unexpected direction. Something about them that you find charming or amusing or fun. And then you want to essentially help them get their attention off themselves. If you solve a problem, two more are going to appear. It's just always like that. Hercules and the Hydra. Whack off ahead, two more come up. How do you let them know that you're going to handle the problem? What I learned as a psychologist was, you say, what is your problem? Oh, thank you. We're going to get to that. In fact, we're going to spend a lot of time on that. We're going to make sure that doesn't come back again. Okay. But before we do that, I'd love to ask you a question. Do you ever play soccer when you were a child? There's that exchange and there's that teamwork thing. Did you play?
I actually did.
You did, and look at your face lighting up, and really? Well, you don't look like a goalie. You don't look that...
Well, actually, that's what I was.
No! Yeah. I am astonished. Now, isn't that a different personality type? I don't really know German football. Different personality than a striker?
Very different.
How?
Yeah.
How is that?
And even in business, until today, it is still the position that I play best.
Now I have just given you the lead. And now you're starting to tell me about how business is, you see?
Yeah.
And so everything that happens now, based on this metaphor that we introduced, is going to be you leading me into territory that you wouldn't want to explore on your own.
And the funny thing is that usually in soccer, of course, you want somebody in the goal that's really tall and strong, and
right.
Because you got to block that ball. So, I'm a skinny person, so when you look at my body type, you would not think of a goalie. But it is what I was best at and what I enjoyed the most.
Are you saying you're tougher than you look?
I guess so.
Okay, I'm really glad to hear you say that, because we're probably in this, over the course of these next months, going to get into some things, really tough things. And you're telling me you're okay for that. You're gonna.
I'm ready.
So if I kick the ball and you get whacked in the head, you're gonna.
I will block it.
You will. With whatever.
Whatever it takes.
Now that's not a metaphor for anything, is it? And so you're working with metaphor, you're working with finding out the things that light them up, bring happiness to them. Why would a business want to innovate? Let's say you got a car and it has a battery, a lithium battery, and it doesn't go very far, and you want to innovate. Why innovate? Why not just leave it the way it is? It's making money. People are happy with it. Because you want to make people even happier. You want to like it even more. And so here, now the thing is to get your attention off you and your battery and your car and how much money it's making, how much money you'll have to invest in order to make a new one. How do you keep up with the competition? And instead, let's say, put you in touch with the end user. You have a car.
I do.
Tell me about it. So.
Well, it's a little older.
Okay.
It's a Mercedes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
With a very strong engine.
Oh, I wonder if those qualities, say people's cars reflect who they are.
I have heard that, yes.
Strong engine, So now, language is not representing reality ever. Okay. Any word you say isn't the same thing as if I say sour and then you taste something sour. The experience is way separate from the words that you're using. Okay, so now we're using words not to say something, but to, like, pointers. And so we're talking about a strong engine, an older car, but is it reliable?
Very reliable and elegant. It's beautiful.
Really? Really? Every word you're saying makes me think of you, actually.
It's pretty funny.
But it's fun, right? You feel the, and I'll bet your customers, people who buy your products, your battery cars or whatever you sell, I bet they love that about your products too. And I bet they want to feel that way about themselves. So now I'm beginning to develop empathy and develop connection between you, the people you work with, the people who work for you, the board of directors, the shareholders, and most importantly, the customers. So we're beginning to build a bridge of empathy. And empathy is that hey, you're well paid for this, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And you know what? You know what I love? How well you paid me for this.
I bet you do.
I really do. And so now we want to make sure that what you do with your company makes people happy. If they're not happy with their product, with your product or your innovation, they're going to let you know about it. I seem to, isn't there a businessman right now who's having an issue? Oh, Elon Musk.
Oh yeah.
Seems to be
just a little
having
issue.
a little bit of a problem with that right now. And he's not the only one.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Boeing, General Electric, General Motors, General whatever. They somehow got the idea that they were in business to make money and began to make that the priority. Like, the more we innovate, the better we innovate, and let's get AI to help us innovate. Well, here's the problem. AI doesn't know what people want. It doesn't even know what desire is. It doesn't care about your customers. And so you say, AI, give me something new. Well, now your car comes out with 4 wheels, but only 3 tires.
That's new.
AI, what are you doing? I'm saving you money, sir. I'm exaggerating, but you get the point.
Yeah, but AI does actually do those kind of things.
It does those kind of things, and yet companies are spending billions on this, what they call it, artificial idiocracy, or artificial idiots, and it can't read your people, it can't read your company, it can't even read your face. It'll do facial recognition and then mix you up with somebody else. And yet companies are spending billions and billions and billions, and it's veering off from everything that's human. You know, an example in banking, where the job is to earn trust. You know, if you don't trust the banking system, all the other systems fall apart. So they have a law some years back to get to keep the trust of the people. Let's have banks that take care of your money, and banks that are investment banks, and they can bet money. And if you put your money in there, you're most likely going to lose it, but you might make more. So they have this thing called Glass-Steagall, and they take it away. Now every bank is a casino.
Yeah.
Did it increase your trust or decrease your trust?
Decrease.
Because, yeah. And I have countless friends who said, I put my money in the bank and I got back less than I put in, a lot less. And that's almost the story everywhere. And without that basic trust, you don't have anything. Okay? Every system fails. So now banks and businesses coming up with things called credit default swaps. They're so complicated, no human can understand them. So if I ask you about Wall Street, I say, what is a credit default swap?
It's interesting that you would bring that up. That was actually a big issue from the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
That's actually what made
so
the whole...
do you know what it is?
Well, let's say it's one of those things that nobody really actually knows what it is, but I do understand the principle. It's insurance on insurance, and yeah, I mean, I have watched...
So in other words, you don't have a clue either. And
I don't think anybody really
nobody does.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. After a while, you've got something that nobody understands.
Yeah.
And well, let's say less than 1%, much less than 1% of people know what all those terms. Do you know what a private equity firm is? Do you know what they do? Do you know do you know how much costs they add or take away from every item you buy? Hardly anybody knows that stuff. Way less than 1% of the people. Now you add AI to that, the complexity increases so much that instead of 1% of people understanding it, it's 0.00000. No one understands it. But the machine sees that it's making money, and that's its job. That's what it's been programmed to do. So it keeps doing more and more and more and more and more. And they're calling that innovation.
Yeah, and with the default swaps, it was so hard to understand that even the people that were selling it had no idea of what they were selling.
Yeah, and now it's,
way worse.
It's way,
oh, yeah.
Well, from the perspective of AI, it's way better. From the perspective of human beings, human nature, and nature itself, AI is veering off from the laws of nature. One of your consultants wrote a book about a guy named Bogdanov. And Bogdanov invented systems theory, which is what has driven the capitalist economy.
Yeah, it became famous through Bertalanffy.
Yeah,
But
Bertalanffy.
who's actually behind it originally is Bogdanov. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. When Lenin threw Bogdanov in prison, then Bertalanffy stole his stuff, and typical scientists, economists. His whole thing was align your business with processes in nature. But what's happening with this AI is it's misaligned with nature. It's misaligned with human nature. It's breaking trust with everybody, and so what you get is crypto. And as Nikki Glaser said, when Tom Brady lost $50 million in a crypto scam, she said he had a receiver who was not a high IQ guy.
I think it's tight end, yeah.
Yeah, even Gronk, no. Crypto, not real money. and Tom laughed, $50 million laugh. So what is the central dynamic of authentic innovation, let's call it? Trust. Does it make people feel secure? Does it make people feel safe? Does it give people a sense of adventure? Does it encourage people to explore? Does it make them interested in your product or want to share it with other people? So that contagious trust is the human dynamic that's at the core of the innovation dynamic. But try to find me a business leader who understands that. Because more and more and more, they are under enormous pressure to rise those quarterly profit numbers on a piece of paper. Doesn't even matter if the company actually made more profit, just does it look like it made more profit, so that more people will put their money into investing in it. And that defeats innovation, and it defeats entrepreneurship. So what is the central dynamic? Trust.
And obviously AI has a place, but what everybody is missing is HI. So there's so much money getting thrown at AI right now, and so much attention, and everybody talks about it, but very few people are focusing on human intelligence.
Right.
So that's kind of where we bring in the balance.
Well, you do. I just go on the internet and watch all the silliness. And if you think what AI is if you watch the internet for any period of time, if you notice they're arguing this side, the left and the right, the ups and the downs, the haves and the have-nots, the bees and the don't bees, and it's a big squabble. And scandal and controversy are important. And nobody cares about what they call now alternative facts versus alternative facts. And the whole thing is a big, can I say shit fight?
I think you just did.
Okay. It's a big mess. Now you take all that garbage that's going on the internet and put on it, along with that, all the weird clothes that people are buying and trying on so that other people will buy them, and all the handy-dandy products that they're trying to sell you. And you take all that garbage in, garbage out, and cram it all together, and that's AI. And then you say, can you write me an email and put me in touch with somebody? And when they get the email, they're going, what the heck is this? I don't even understand. I don't know what they're talking about. It's just taken a bit here, a bit there, piece something together that sounds good unless you actually read it. And so let's say everything becomes more like everything, which becomes more like everything else.
Yeah.
And trust gets broken, even though everything looks better, sounds better. And you can get a singing donkey to sing a birthday song to a friend that you haven't seen in a long time, or tell them in the style of which artist, and it gets sillier and sillier. Okay? And yet their companies continue to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in it. And the real intelligence is in the human ability, the human quantum intelligence that has guided our evolution, that makes us able to communicate on so many levels. And instead of the word intimacy, to have the experience of being intimate, you know. It breaks trust when this happens, okay? And all of those companies are going to lose all of that money, except one. And that one will be like Disney. It'll have a mouse that talks or a baby shark that it won't have any meaning, but it will amuse people to a certain degree. And what's the number one cola?
That would be Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, number 2.
Pepsi?
Number 3. Nobody knows and nobody cares.
Right. I think Virgin tried it once, but they didn't do too well.
Oh, thousands
Of
upon
course,
thousands
yeah.
of people have tried it, and they all fell by the wayside. Now that's where AI is going, and yet companies worldwide spend, you know, a company who I will not mention, okay, Volkswagen, put $5 billion to align with Rivian because they like their solar batteries or their lithium batteries. In the meantime, Toyota comes out with an engine that will burn anything. I mean, you can pour your grandmother's shampoo into it and that engine will run. Cooking oil, leftover cooking oil, gasoline, hydrogen, which is free, and it doesn't pollute at all, and it's powerful and it's reliable. And whoa, what just happened to that $6 billion? You know, right down the toilet, right? Now, is that building trust with the shareholders? Is that building trust with the customers? Is that building trust with the companies that you merged with? 90% of mergers fail outright. So your people go in and you say, all right, let's build some trust here. You know, let's get to know each other a little bit. Did you ever play soccer when you were a child? And slowly you bring them to a realization of what really matters and what innovation, what real authentic innovation is and what it can do.